My name is Liz Spencer. I'm one of the 31 artists here in Archway Gallery. Standing in tonight for our gallery director, Joel Anderson, who is attending another event. And I couldn't be more honored and pleased to be the MC at this particular show. Those of you who are new to the gallery may have discovered already that we are a cooperative effort. We are a co-op of 31 local artists. We share the ownership, the expense, the manpower. We mop the floors, we clean the toilets. We do it all. We try and sell the art. Actually, the art's pretty good, I think. Has been my pleasure for maybe 30 years to know John Slaby, and I met him, of all places, at the Bayou City Art Festival, which lends some credibility to events like that artists of his caliber would show there, and I hope of my caliber, but you can make that judgment. John and I were set up next to each other. We entered into conversation over the weekend, and we've been friends ever since. He's been a member of Archway Gallery since November of 1993, over 25 years. He has been the director of our gallery. He is currently, and has been for some time, the treasurer of our gallery, so he manages not only the gallery finances, but the paying of the bills and the paying of the artists. Very important, two different jobs. And on a personal note, I would say that John is probably the most ethical person I know, and bar none. And I trust my money with him. And they were little enough, I might have trusted my children with him. They're grown now, so that's not a thing I have to think about. On just a little housekeeping, there are several events that are happening in conjunction with the exhibition that you're enjoying tonight. Of course, tonight's opening will go until 8 o'clock. We're going to probably adjourn for pizza afterwards, if anyone's still hanging around. There will be a music event Sunday, November 11th, featuring musicians from Kinetic. And also Loop 38. And John has really fostered relationships with the musical community and has brought them in, and so we've become sort of a hub for small and large groups, individuals as well as groups. John will also do an etching demonstration the following Sunday on November 18th, also at 2 p.m. And then finally, there will be a closing reception and a late night pie. We serve pizza and we serve pie to anyone who walks in the door. And that will be Saturday, November 24th. So pretty much the next 3 weekends, there will be events. Now, this is an unusual exhibit. If you've been here for 15 minutes, you probably figured that out. You can go to a piece of artwork and buy it now as you would in an auction. Or you can place a bid in one of the 4 areas where the artwork is listed throughout the main gallery. The books are pretty easy. They've got a picture of each artwork on them. We've already sold a number of small and, I'm not sure about large, but we've sold some of the work already, I have to say. And we encourage you to place bids because the auction will stay open throughout the month and will close the evening of late night pie. Additionally, John is donating 1/2 of his proceeds from this show to 4 different charities, which you may vote upon. And being the analytical person that he is, he will figure out the metrics of how that money gets divided, I have no doubt. So if you like Star of Hope, Houston Area Women's Center, Casa de Esperanza, or the Women's Place, then you may choose. And you don't have to buy something to make these votes count. You may choose to cast a ballot for one of those for the money to be distributed to that charity. At this time, I'd like to turn the floor over to John. I know he's got some things he'd like to say, but I would like to just personally say that of all my friends, he's in the top 3. My husband's here, so I can't say
Oh, God. It's been 3 years. It's been 3 years since I stood in a circle like this with my friends from work, from my recovery groups, from my art circles, and I've been waiting for this moment. 3 years of work here for you to look at. So, thank you for being here. It fills my heart. Thank you very much. I did have a plan of something I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about success as an artist, and I wanted to talk about money. I wanted to talk about why there's an auction, and why there are charities, and why there's a box that says affirmations and condemnations. So I'm not sure what this is going to look like. I'm going to call it a process, a money process, a success process. Those of you who are in recovery circles, you probably know what that means. So I don't know what it's really going to look like, so maybe you'll get something out of it. Otherwise, no, just enjoy the ride. So one of the things Liz mentioned was that we met 30 years ago when I did the outdoor festival for West County. And it was at that festival that I transitioned from being the amateur painter to the professional painter. The professional being the guy who sells his work. And the measure of success of a professional artist is the degree to which the work is sold. Now, I come from a background where I have a very strong money issue, where my self-worth is tied up in the money that I have. So I found myself judging myself as an artist commensurate with what my sales were, with how much money I made from my sales. And for artists, that's a pretty bad thing to be doing for me. Because I found that by thinking that way, I built myself a prison, and that prison caged my artistic freedom. And at times it caged my own happiness. It started to reach a peak for me, actually only within the last year. I was sitting in my studio and beating the crap out of myself, thinking I was a failure because of what my sales were, or were not. But that's what the mind does to a person, right? So that's why I'm doing this process. So this is why this is for me, right? So there are a lot of artists in here tonight, and you all know probably what this story is like, about what sales are like, what that means to you, going to the show, how many red dots are there, how many pieces were sold, what are the prices, obsess, 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 obsess. I don't want to deal with that anymore. So I started to think to myself, what can I do to break from out of that mindset? And I started to think, well, you know, there's one thing I do every year that really symbolizes that mindset. One thing I do every year that makes me think about profitability, about profit and loss, income and expenses. And one thing. And I started to focus on that and what that was. And what that thing was this thing. It's this little piece of paper that I fill out every year. Does that look familiar? Yeah. That, my friends, is a IRS Schedule C. And it says profit and loss from business. This is my actual Schedule C from 2017. So I fill out a couple of these. I fill out something like this for my art business, and I fill it out for my engineering business, and I started to think that this has really come to symbolize my obsession about money. And I started to think about what my life is for and what my purpose in life is for. And I started to think about what this is in relation to that. So I came to the conclusion that my purpose in life and my meaning, the thing that gives my life meaning, is taking what meager skills and talents I have and trying to make the world a better place. And those of you who know me know that I have a split life. I have an engineering life, and I have an artistic life. And in that engineering life, I think of that as a way of improving the world through my engineering, improving the material well-being of the world, and making the world a better place by creating more productivity. And then on the other side is I have this art world, and this art world is the world of spirituality and connection. So on the one hand is the currency of money and things and physical well-being, which is very important, but then on the other hand, there's the art. There's a spiritual, and the currency on the art is connection. I don't need this fucking thing anymore. So I want to get rid of it. And does anybody have any suggestions? I thought they would have to think about it. Schedule C. We do this without setting the oil cans up. There are no IRS agents here. Thank you. I think a round of applause. Now, normally in a process like this, when one gives up some behavior or destroys something, something must replace it. Some other positive behavior must replace it. So I've given up this profit and loss thought and thinking of my art as a business. And what I want to take now is a different image of what success is like. And I look out into this crowd, and this is success to me because all my friends, colleagues from the art world are here. And I have the approval of all these people. I have their friendship and their support. And I'm a member of an art community, a very vibrant art community in this town. And it's a real gratitude that I feel to be part of that amazing community. There's a huge amount of beautiful art in this town, and to count myself as one of you is an incredible privilege. But there's one more thing that I want to take out of that, and that's this other little piece of paper. I'm going to create for myself a different kind of balance sheet, and I've already started. I'm calling this, it doesn't have any formal heading on it, but I'm calling this the Schedule S. And this is a profit and loss of spirituality. And I wouldn't even dare call it a loss, but a balance sheet of spirituality. I started to list all the major connections that I've made in my life as a result of my art. And I've got some pretty deep things in here, people who connected with my work on a very deep level. And this is the kind of balance sheet that I want to maintain. So, from all of this, I hope explains why there are ballot boxes and why there's a box of affirmations and condemnations. I want to give up this idea of wanting to make money from my art. I don't want to give up the focus of doing it. So I'm auctioning everything off. I don't want money to get in the way of somebody connecting with the work. And to even distinguish that or separate it even further, I want to give away half the money to some charity. So I'm not obsessed about it. And I want to fill out my balance sheet. And so I want you to fill out an affirmation or a condemnation, or whatever you're drawn to, and put it in that box. So that's where I am with this, and I will now say a few words about the show. Thank you. So I called the show The Male Gaze because my work had been judged as being part of that mindset. And if you don't know what the male gaze is, in a very short, brief discussion, I will just say that the male gaze is a theory that says that men really should not paint women nude because it is an exercise of male power over women, because it is objectifying of those women, and that it is done for male pleasure. So I will just say to that, to look around this room and draw your own conclusions. I choose to paint the figure because the figure is the most expressive art form there is. There's nothing that can compare to looking into the eye of an image of another person and connecting with that person. To connect to me, the artist, through the image, through the model, through the paint. It is the most expressive art form to me that there is. It is also the most difficult. It is the most difficult art to do. And I choose to paint women because of their beauty. I choose to paint women because of what they symbolize to me, which is fertility, nurturing, loving, mothering, support, all these wonderful positive things. And I choose to paint women because I know that part of me is in each one of these figures. That I relate to these women on a very deep level. And I like painting men, and men have their place, but there's a part of me that's afraid of men. There's a part of me that is frightened by the strength, and the physicality, and the potential violence of men. So there's part of me that shies away from doing that. And that's the honest truth. So this show is made up entirely of women. And there is one male painting. And that male painting is about another side of the male gaze, which is about body shape. And those feelings are in all of these paintings, those feelings of courage. And I like having these two heroes behind me. Those feelings of courage and isolation, strength, struggle, isolation, loneliness, fear, it's all here. Because those things are no gender. They are universals. And these are just symbols of those universals. I want you to connect with this work. On my little balance sheet here, the ones that really mean the most to me, the ones that have the most weight, are the ones that are connected on the deepest level. Paintings that have meant so much to somebody. And when I want to touch that level, I know I have to go deep. And the deeper I go, the deeper that connection and the more weight that it has. And that's why I do what I do, at the level that I do. And there's one more thought about my art and why I paint, in addition to that, what I do. Because for me, when I make that connection, when I paint from that deepest part of myself, the metaphor for me is like reaching out my hand into darkness, through the fear, through the pain, through the isolation, and even through the abuse, to reach out and hold someone's hand. Thank you.